Majestix Podcast. I am your host, Chase, and as always, joined by my co-host, Pat.
Up.
So, it's just going to be us two today.
Yeah, it will be should be interesting just to talk about a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's a ROC Cup coming up October. There's Worlds coming up first week of December. And then there's our Invitational the week after that. And then in the middle, there's the Wizkids Open. That's they just announced all the locations.
In November. Yep.
Yeah.
So most of them are in November, and I guess some will be in December, right?
I don't know. I think it's
a bad move, but
yeah, I don't think it's worth doing it. Well, it could be, and if it's like the first couple weeks.
How long do they have to get there to actually run their open? Do you know?
I feel like they have a 2-month window.
2-month window?
I think, but
so there's going to be probably just a ton in November then.
Yeah, so that's why it would behoove them to spread it out a little bit more if they.
Yeah, I think they should be like October, November.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, right? Right in the middle of the ROC Cup too, but I don't know. We got at least this time. I got the list. There's close to us. There's Vegas, San Diego, Fresno, Sunnyvale actually, but I don't know about that.
Where's that at?
It's by Sacramento.
Oh, gotcha. Wait, so there's Fresno, Sacramento, San Diego.
I didn't put Sacramento because Aaron was saying how bad that place is, and there hasn't been a good comment or review to anyone who's gone to that.
Oh, to that specific Wizkids is open.
Yeah, because
I thought you just about Sacramento in general. I'm like, yeah, I've heard bad things, but
no, just from what I hear, like, just everyone that goes there that's not a local gamer or a local player, they do some shady stuff. That's from what I hear, and it's multiple sources too. It's not just like one or two people. It's literally every single person that I've talked to that's not from there. So,
shady stuff involved with hero clicks, never.
And then there's one in Youngstown
in Arizona.
Hesperia. That's the
so
midway
3 hours.
Midway point between Vegas and OC SoCal. So at least we have more than just a couple. Well, because they're giving everybody.
That's a good 5-6 within 6 hours.
Yeah, which is kind of cool for us since we don't get anything around here. It's San Diego and Sacramento. That's it.
What are you talking about? We got the U.S. Cup and the Invitational now.
Wizkids Open. Wizkids Open. But these so I was looking at some of the numbers on these Wizkids Opens, and these they've become kind of like pre-releases. There's because almost every store can do it now, and not many people go because there's so many. If you combine that with the ROC events too, people can just pick and choose. Whereas before, if you look at the maps now, I think there's like over 100, maybe 200. I'm worldwide. I'm not entirely sure, but they have one. There's like almost the same amount of stores that do pre-releases now, which is crazy because this is supposed to be qualifiers to the nationals.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's so many of them, then everyone's basically going to qualify because if let's say in your region there's like 3 or 4 and let's say they don't coordinate, they put it all like on the same weekend. Well, one store is going to get 8, another store is going to get 10, another store is going to get 9. Instead of having one store getting 30. Or when they first did this, like 90 to 100. Then it became it actually became worth something. It was like worth something to
Well,
try.
it dilutes
Oh yeah,
the
big time.
the pool, but I mean, on the other side of it, you're going to hear players say, well, at least I get more options on where to go. And then
Yeah,
if you want to hit a bunch, you can hit even more. So that's good. It just doesn't, I don't feel, I will say that I don't feel like I need to prep as much for a Wizkid.
yeah,
Not because you should. I should be prepping just as much, but I don't feel like is accomplished to win it. I feel more accomplished winning a Majestix Open Series.
yeah.
And
I
that's
think
not
it's
like a
true.
plug. Like,
It's what it is.
yeah.
It is what it is because a lot of these now, yeah, you're right. Dilute is the word. But if it becomes so, what was I saw a movie. Oh, that's right. I was watching Ozark. I don't know if you.
The TV, I just finished the. Oh, so good.
Okay, so in season 2, uh, like the Ruth and her dad, which are like
Mm-hmm.
they live by the lake. They're kind of like, like criminals, lower class. They're just trying to scrape by, and they're always having to hustle. Well,
Yeah.
they came up on where they can get this boat, like some engine from a boat.
Yeah.
And a buyer that was like, I'll give you guys 48 hours to get that to me, and I'll give you $10,000 for whatever it was. And I said, man, you know how hard it is to find one of those, and let alone get one and give it to you. And then the guy retorts, well, if it was so common, no one would want it.
Yep.
And like that applies to like this, because no, like I feel like these Wizkids Opens are no longer prestigious. The value is not there. Before, back in 2014, 2015, when you said you won a Wizkids Open, that carried weight. That was like right below winning a national and worlds, because these events would get almost 100 players, and it would be from everywhere. Everyone would come. So then when you win, it's like a big prestigious thing. And then you had the swag to show for it, because there's not only all the Connellys, but you get the Chase and Prime set. So it's basically minus the design a figure and the title world champion. You got like the same pricing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I should say that it's not even so much that there's so many of them. It doesn't make it quite as big a deal, but the bigger thing is the player turnout. And because it's diluting it, having all these different ones.
Well, no, that's why though.
That's what I was trying to say, because I feel like I said earlier that it was just because there's so many, but because there's less people are traveling and going to them or coming out, and so when you see one that somebody's like, I want a 15 player, and you're like, oh, okay. Do you want to? Like, good job, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I
no offense to everyone who won them, but it doesn't have the same thing.
Only if they don't brag about that. If they brag about the winning, then fuck them. You tell them, yeah, you want an 8-man event, and and the always are the other argument.
That my store get 15. So
always the other side of it. They always say, well, what if it's 8 of the best players? And I go, but was it? The answer is always no. So what the hell are you talking about? It's always, well, it could be prestigious if it's all the best guys. Like, right, but I don't see the top players at these small events, because it's not worth going. Because there's one by you, so why would I go there? I remember back when these super qualifiers started back in 2014, when only a handful of them were around. Actually, there was a lot, but there weren't as much as there is now. Number one, but number two, there were no Wizkids Open, so you had no choice if you wanted to get your competitive fix to go to one of these. Even if that meant you have to drive like 8 hours or 10 hours, whatever, that's what you had to do if you wanted to play competitively. And back then, like, give you an example, like the first. Okay, this is not even a super qualifier, just a qualifier. Like, which is the level below that. We drove to Oregon to play, and they had 32 players in this event. It's a qualifier, just a small thing. And when I went to Alabama for their first one, there was like 47 players, and then Kentucky the week after that, 66. So when people would win these super qualifiers back then, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because, you see the turnouts like 30, 40, 50 or more. So, and then, like back then, like a low number was like 25. Like, oh man, we only had 25.
Oh, man.
And like now it's like 25 that's like a good showing, right?
Yeah. There's just a lot of events, and that's interesting too, because there isn't less players and there isn't less competitive players.
The same amount of players. Just
I mean, you know that by the price of the pieces right now, because it's the competitive pieces that are going through the roof right now. It's not collectors. People can say this all the time, that collectors are the reason. It's not. There's just no way that a collector is paying $100, because they're going to get that Wolverine the first week anyway. Okay, if they want that Wolverine, they got their Wolverine the first week. They weren't waiting till now to get it, but yet it's still going for as much as it is. The ID card, collectors don't care about ID cards.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay,
so when people say stuff like that, it doesn't make sense to me. What's happening is the competitive steam is still very strong. Mm-hmm. The player base is still large. I think it's growing, and I think it's reflected in when you try to buy anything that's competitive, because it's really expensive.
But I think one of the things you have to keep in mind, though, there's just not enough suppliers out there for these things, right? Because if they're, it's not like in Magic or other games where there's just tons and tons of dealers that can just get all these and, always have them in stock. Mm-hmm. In HeroClix, it's, there's a few out there, and then it's like the private sellers that want, they open two and they put one on eBay. That's it, because there's just not enough product out there to, which I think it's good, because it keeps the collectability up. Now, if again, right, if it was so readily available, nobody wants it, which is why commons, a lot of people just donate. But it's still good. Like I don't want people to think that I'm shitting on there's too many Wizkids Opens. It's just that I think
if the pricing was better. I think that would help.
Pricing is better
if the pricing was better.
Okay. I was like, yeah. If it,
no.
It's not. But you got to think again. You can go to a whole bunch of these if there's if you live in an area where there's a lot, so you can go to one every week, like Daniel Powell does. There's either some super qualifier or a Wizkids Open that goes every week. But I just think now that the bar and the standard for accomplishments have changed. That's what I think. Before, like I said, when you say you want a Wizkids Open, you put that on your resume or you put that on as an accomplishment. It's still good, but it's a step above winning your local event, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unless you're out here where we don't have as many, then more people are going to go travel to these events where, and then it's a little bit more prestigious because the best players are actually going. Whereas if you're like in Texas and there's probably like, I don't know, 5 or 10 of them or whatever. I don't know how many there are in these other states, but definitely more than 1, 2, and 3. And then obviously in the Midwest there's like a ton. So
yeah, I mean, it depends on how many good players, and I don't know. I mean, we still have a decent amount to get to within a few hours. I mean, Texas probably has more within a couple hours of each other because of how those cities are set up.
Yeah. And then obviously the Midwest.
I don't know.
It's all in there. There's I was talking to Eric Klixer, and it's funny.
Why are you laughing?
I don't want to like. I'm not throwing him under the bus, and I'm not like. I don't want to instigate anything, but he did say something that was interesting. So this is weird because it's like what, 3 people removed or whatever. He heard from Jesse Cote.
Okay. Who heard from?
Yeah, when it's from him when he went over there to Big Bang to talking that I don't know who said it or what the feeling whatever, but he essentially told Eric that they're not scared of any they're not it's not they're scared that like there's no good players out in the West Coast, which was like the gist of it, if I got that right. Yeah, so
we're doing this again.
No, I mean, look, let's be perfectly clear for the people who do listen to this. From 2014 to 2016, the West Coast was HeroClix. Let me repeat that. 2014 to 2016, Majestix, in particular, was HeroClix. And if anybody wants to argue with me, they can look at my 3 figures. They can look at my 10 super Qs, and they can look at my check. They can anything, whatever. But that was back then. Now, I would kind of have to agree. It was. That's why Eric was like, "Oh, I don't want to start anything." And I'm like, "No, you know what? I think you're right." I'm like, I was thinking, Kevin doesn't play. Justin, Chris, me.
Who's the most accomplished right now?
We were like the four guys that went everywhere and won everything. And we stopped. And then, like Alan Mason's now moved. Aaron doesn't really play as much as he used to because now that he has a house, he has to take care of that. And just like the Vegas guys, they were the other juggernauts out here, and they just, I don't know, like Roland and Dustin.
Yeah, whatever happened to Roland?
They still play. They're still there, but like I said, they're kind of like just doing their own thing over there, and and they're not really big supporters of the ROC. First impression, like it's very hard to make a second first impression.
What? I mean, who's the most accomplished at this point out here? Steve?
That actually plays, yeah. That actively goes out there. It would, Steve maybe.
Yeah.
Steve, like he's finished top 8 at nationals. He's won our thing. He's always top. He
was right there against George at the end.
All the time,
But you know what? There is a point too, and I was thinking this the other day. I just didn't want to admit to this, but every time one of them's come out for an Open Series, they've taken it. I mean, Daniel did it in Colorado, but I mean, PJ came out, George came out. Yeah,
that's why I'm like, when he said that, I'm like, yeah, I can't really dispute that.
I mean, but there are players here that took them to the like
close
within inches. Emilio has done it. Steve's done it.
Hold on, let me repeat it again.
What's that?
Close only counts in horseshoes and
hand grenades. Okay, fair enough.
Getting almost to the mountaintop and then slipping and falling back to the bottom. It's like you never.
I would like to see what happens in this invitational. That could actually mean something.
Yeah, that would be. I like I was telling Steve and Aaron, like those are the guys that I would pick, to take it, but depends on how how the other guys prepare. Also, just part of it though is just the sheer number of events, what they have versus what we have.
Yeah, but also what do you consider the West Coast versus the East Coast versus the Midwest versus, because PJ and Daniel are Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest.
So that's all Midwest. Georgia's Midwest.
Well, I'm just saying the statement was nobody out in the West Coast scares them, or it might have been California. I don't know. It might as well be all everywhere out because like the Pacific Northwest guys, there's a lot of good guys there, but they just do their own thing. You see, it's like all these splintered tribes.
Yeah.
Where before it was like one collective unit, like a couple years ago, where everything was going on out here, and but.
Well, even that collective unit was either Vegas or Majestix.
Yeah. Well, the Pacific Northwest guys went everywhere too. They have some.
I never know.
Was
Tim up there? Tim Bold up there? I remember seeing him reading
No,
him from an
no.
event up there. No.
Ohio.
Oh, he's Ohio.
It's like Matt Peterson, Brian Smith, Chip, the the Brothers Prop guys and the all those like Brian Dormier. Those guys are all really good. They did compete and they did travel and did everything. Like Matt Peterson went to our regional. He went to our region. He went down like twice here and then once in Vegas, like him and his group. Corey Henry, like those are guys that, just a year or a year and a half, 2 years ago, all across the country, they would, strike fear, or at least they'd be really, really competitive with the rest of it. Yeah, it was respected because everyone was around. Now it's, it's all in the Midwest, South. But I think most of it, though, is because the ROC, I feel now, it's more of a regional thing. Just because there aren't many events past Texas, right? Can you think of any?
Unless you're running.
There's little qualifiers, winter maps, but no super qualifiers, no mega super qualifiers, no regionals past Texas. That's think about that. There's like Nevada. I mean, there was states, but that's it. Like because we were doing the Open Series, which was still part of the ROC, but that's a different thing because it's a different format and it's a different like a different animal altogether. So,
makes sense.
That's interesting. I can definitely see their point of it. I just hope that maybe something happens where other people step it up.
Yeah, I think it's a different mentality a little bit too. I think also too, do you get, how you were talking about the regional thing? It gets old when you set out and you travel and you do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's wearing. You know what I mean? You can't keep that up. If nothing's ever close, and it's always hard to get out of town, and it's always this, and you know what I mean?
It's just the nature of the beast. Like if people can't travel to go to these other places like we used to, because also we're younger.
And it's going more west or east. Like the complaint is nothing's out here, so they went farther east at a worse time.
Yeah. Well, that's why we gotta do our own thing, Yeah.
That was their perfect, when they wanted to they push things back and separate it. This was their perfect time to reset everything. At least bring nationals something. At least put nationals in like the Colorado area. I don't know, somewhere that's a little easier.
Or I guess would have been a good one would be to put it at Salt Lake Comic-Con, because it's in Utah and it's that's a big con.
Really?
If you're looking for a big con to do it, that would be a big one out, this side. Obviously,
everything's always going to be cheaper out there and everything else, and now it's just going to be more expensive in these areas they do. I don't know. Origins is getting the price of everything just keeps going up, it seems like, and it's getting more ridiculous the size of it, just like Gen Con is and everything else.
Yeah, no, it's pretty sad. It's like I was thinking about it. I was like, man, that's like depressing. We do have some good players, that are coming up. It's just that there's always some reason why someone, like, let's say these potentially good players that we have in the area, there's always something that comes up where they can't commit all the way in.
Yeah.
Where they can become really, really good. So the bar is they can only reach a certain level because they won't travel past a certain radius. So that restriction by itself means you can only be so good because you're not going to be able to test yourself against the other best players in the country or in the world. Yeah. So if you're not willing to fly, let's say, well, then you're never going to go to Worlds. You're never going to go to the ROC Cup. Never going to go to Nationals. And you need that kind of exposure to get good. That's how we got good, because we decided we're gonna go to all these places where we don't, get out of our comfort zone, so to speak, and then just compete and then learn. That's what it is. Compete and learn.
Yeah.
It's like a whole freaking it's so funny. It's like a whole the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, if anybody knows that. It's Bruce Lee's martial art, but the philosophy is don't stay in one place and learn from only one place. Go learn from, because not everyone knows, no one knows everything. So you have to go to different dojos, different gyms, different trainers, masters, senseis, whatever you want to call it, and learn from them. And then what you're supposed to do is you take all you learn, take what works for you for whatever it is you're into. Like, so in the case of martial arts, you take all the techniques and the training that works, the styles that work, incorporate it into your regimen or your style, and then throw everything else out. So then that's why Jeet Kune Do is it's like the style of no style, because it's your own. You make it your own, and like there is obviously basics on how they do it, but if something doesn't work for you and you learn from someone else, suppose you want to do it that way, then use that. So apply it to HeroClix. If you only play one way in your local area, you're not gonna learn. You go somewhere else, and then you get wrecked. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the ones was when we had no idea how good New Mutants team base was post errata, and then we went to Texas, Kevin and I, and that super qualifier, there was like 50 players or something. And the best player there was playing Lydia Malor Phoenix Force with New Mutants. And Paris and Will and all the guys were like, dude, this guy his name's Caleb. He beats everybody. And we're like, New Mutants? Like, wait, it's a team base? It's already post, he's only going action. It's not that good. And then I just saw him just annihilate everybody. He beat Paris, beat Kevin, just smashed everyone. And then I was like, dude. And I barely beat him in the top 4. And afterwards, he was explaining to us how the team works and why, and all these things. And then we're like, man, this is really good. We never would have known, because where we, at the store and, in SoCal, nobody played New Mutants. We didn't even know what Magma did or Magic. And he was like, most people pop out Warlock and then be done, like the big 164 point guy.
Yeah.
That's wrong. So you're supposed to be doing Magic and Magma, or Magic and Sunspot, whatever. But you don't. He almost said you almost never pop out Warlock, and we're like, what? Because in our thinking, we're like, wow, we should. He's the biggest guy you can drop. He's got RAM. He could pick a power. Okay, let's play him. He's huge. He's got deep dial. He's like, no, you play these guys. And the way he played it was genius. It's just like the team base was almost like not a thing, because those two pieces plus Lydia Malor was almost enough to beat the other teams. And then if you happen to get around it, then the team base is there to follow it up with its like 11 or 12 clicks. So then we ended up playing that at Oregon like the next month, when nobody knew about the New Mutants team base, because that's only a Texas thing. Like let me for people who do go back farther, New Mutants was played in a very small window before the errata came out, or the watch list came out. When it was, I think it was Nick Peterson that was playing New Mutants at the ROC Cup back in like 2013. But that was just like a month later. It went on the watch list, and then it was just the team bases were done basically. So we played it at Oregon, and Kevin and I finished first and second. But it was that kind of thing, because now we were ahead of the metagame, because we had trained with Caleb and Paris and them down there to figure out how there's another way to play. And then meanwhile, we went to Oregon, and they're still on like Highfather, and that was a thing. Highfather was a thing. Well, guess what? It doesn't work when the team base can pop out
2 more pieces,
like a whole nother team. See, so that was one of the also Copycat. So we played Copycat and it was a New Mutants theme team. Copycat and um, uh, Copycat belt and the New Mutants team base at 200. And this was when Copycat just barely came out, and it caused all kinds of problems because you're stealing their Banshee, you're stealing their Cerise, or but so that's the whole thing about going to all these other places and learning. That's the only way, because if you don't I didn't think that the Quinjet at low points would be good until I played against Ed at the ROC Cup, a couple years ago, and it was like an eye opener. It's like, oh, it is good at 70 points, So, yeah, so that's the whole thing. That's just like my little tangent on the players out here just not committing, which is why we don't really have a full Majestix Apex Predators team, because since those three guys don't play anymore, I'm not gonna put my name on guys who are okay. I'm only gonna put guys who I think are great. But the only way they can do that is they have to show me they got commitment.
It's like commitment.
You can win one thing, but you gotta show me you gotta do it again. You gotta beat these guys. You gotta go try. You gotta do things like that. That's why there's like no shirts out there. It's just me.
Well, yeah, and that's something that I've noticed with all of us. Like, I don't get to play nearly as much as I want to, but when I can, I'll travel to a Majestix Open Series event or something. Yeah. But I'm not seeing a lot of. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is. Is there anybody going to Worlds? Clay
is going. He's gonna go half cocked because no training.
No, Clay's probably one of the best players that doesn't train.
But see, that's a problem. It's a problem because imagine if he did.
Yeah, I know.
We might be talking about him and his 6'7" ass.
Clay's a good player too.
And his freaking Wendigo figure that he's been wanting to make. That's what I mean. But
do we even get to make figures anymore? Is that still happening?
What's that?
Are they still even making figures anymore? Yeah. Is that a thing?
I think.
Did Howard get his?
So DC Rebirth is coming out.
Yeah.
They just announced that, which is kind of cool. This is just my initial thought. I think their figure will be in there. Okay, cool. Because if I'm right, if my guess is right, it's a DC figure. But they didn't confirm or deny it. I just know what they wanted to do, leading up to Worlds last year, and immediately, when they just won, and they're I was like, oh, what do you guys want to make? And then they told me what they wanted to make, and I don't think they got denied that, but I don't know. Yeah. I think it's going to be. What I think is, it's going to be a DC figure. If I'm right, it's a DC figure. Speaking of perfect time, perfect timing.
Howard, and we're talking about player turnout and stuff like that. What are you expecting at the Cup?
Oh, it's a $4,000 question. How did that even come up? 64,000. Why is it that value? Was that some kind of?
It had to be, yeah.
Well, because that's always a thing, right? Yeah, isn't that the $64,000 question? Anyway,
some game doing the 70s or something.
I know, right? So last year there was about 150 to anywhere from 150 to 175.
That's actually still really impressive.
Unique players, and this is I think I'm counting. If I'm not mistaken, I'm counting do you remember how they had the vendors back there? Mm-hmm. I'm counting those people and the people that came for them doing the Gundams, just the people at the ROC Cup in general. Oh. Including players and the vendors and all that, just the people that just come in there, just there were people,
that's people in attendance.
Just how people that were there and they brought their family, but only one person played, but their the wife and the kid are there.
Yeah.
I'm counting all that. It's probably like I'm thinking it's probably like 150 to 175 around there if you count them, because the players for the main event was like, I want to say like 80 to 90, it was like 85 to 90.
Okay.
But that's also, we don't know how many people. That was the main event on Sunday, but we don't know how many people didn't make it throughout the weekend, right?
Oh yeah.
The
Trying to
80,
get the last
the
chance or whatever.
86 players that were in the main event were the people that qualified. But of that, like, I don't know how many more that didn't make it in. I think it'd be really hard not to make it in at that point.
Usually people are selling rock points still.
Yeah. So.
Or just be really nice to Howard and ask him for a few points.
I know.
Really.
So like 100. Yeah. So this year, I think, I don't know if so it's either the loss of TCG Player and the loss of HC Realms will affect it negatively, or moving it to Alabama will make it slightly better because it's not all the way down there in Atlanta. I don't know. Does that even make a difference if it's in Alabama or?
Okay, so this is the problem I'm having. I would have gone to the ROC Cup if tickets were $500 for me to fly out there.
Right, because Atlanta is a hub.
So. Yeah, because I have ROC points. Like I have my own. I didn't have to ask Howard for them. And I wanted to really go. I really wanted to go. I wanted to support the ROC over Wizkids. And I don't want to go to Pennsylvania or Philadelphia. Where is it? Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia.
Wants to go to Philadelphia? What is it? Yeah. Nobody. You live there. You don't want to really go out and do stuff. So anyway, point being, don't want to go all the way across the country in December when I'm trying to save money for Christmas. You got kids, you got family, all that BS. Anyway, point being, I would have went out, and if I would have went to Atlanta, the tickets would have been $170 round trip.
Yeah.
It would have been on the shittiest airplane,
Frontier,
like Spirit or Frontier. I can't remember which one. But that's what I did before. Dude, my tickets were $149 round trip when I went out there a couple of years ago.
It makes sense. Yeah.
And that's all I need is a backpack anyway. So I'm good to go. I get in there, and I really wanted to go, but I'm not going to spend $500 on a ticket. I will not. It just isn't happening.
Yeah, I don't know. My gut feeling that says there'll be less.
Yeah.
But also, because it's more centralized in that region, more of the players in that region can attend. Because remember I said about the people who don't want to fly. Well, all that, because they're more centralized, that's people can just drive there. They're 4, 5, 6 hours from like anywhere major that does rock events.
Well, that's good.
So then that means all of those guys are going to make it there. Whereas before, they would actually have to fly to Atlanta. So that makes it a little.
Here's my question: are the hotels around stuff cheaper?
I haven't.
Because that's important too. I mean, that's another thing. He's got to be able to use that as a selling point, because staying in that hotel and that whole thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, $90. Yeah, I don't know how much it is here because he's covering everything for me. So, but I don't know.
That's because you're spending 5 days down there judging. Yeah. Is it 5 days? 4 days?
I'm gonna be there on Thursday.
Thursday till.
I come back on Monday morning.
That's a long time. That's a long time not to get to win anything.
I know. Last year was like very, very. It was very different. Yeah, I don't know if I wanted to keep doing. Yeah, because usually when I go to do anything like this, it's like because there's some kind of something to be gained, either winning something or getting money or prizing or whatever. There, nothing. I go there to do an event. He's paying for the flight and the hotel, or if I'm staying with him, not really sure. But like that's 4, 5 days off of work for me. that I'm not, I'm closed. The store's closed, so that's like no money being made here at the store. So
Well,
that does make a big difference in like my feelings and attitude about being there. And not only that, but judging like the whole 12, 20 hours, however many fucking hours it is for one. That's I don't know.
it's a lot, man.
Yeah, I don't. I made a commitment, so I'm not gonna leave him hanging. But I am weighing the options of like, man, I'm not getting paid, and I'm doing this. And
you better grab some of those maps while you're out there.
I'm getting a map. I'm gonna tell him, you better give me a handful of maps.
Yeah.
It's 5 days off of work.
You just bring an extra suitcase.
Before I took 5 days off of work, but I came back with $4,000. So, and even on the bad one, I came back with $1,200. So I was like, okay, on top of all the other things. But yeah, there I was like, man, what's happening here?
Yeah, I think I do want to go next year. I'm going to find a way to make it work a little better. Try and maybe get my ticket a little earlier. Maybe that'll help or whatever. But
I don't know.
Obviously, I want to play.
It is still a smaller airport, I think. So just like how John Wayne is smaller here, so that's why it's always going to be expensive.
Well, I did notice I told you before. I found some airport, and I can't remember what it is now. That was like an hour away or 2 hours away, and it was.
They drop you off in a parachute, and that's why it's cheap.
I'll take it. You know me. I think they save $1. You've seen some of the hotels we've had.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, the last one was good. I was actually pretty proud of myself on that one.
You got upgraded too. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Something where maybe we get enough group of guys and just try and get out there and go and make it all worthwhile for everybody. Maybe we'll get some of these West Coasters that don't want to travel willing to travel.
Yeah, I think what it's going to take is just having more stuff out here, just in general. Because then, if they see that there's more events out here, maybe it'll entice them to go. Right.
We'll see what happens to it with Invitational. Maybe if Emilio and Tony, well, Steve and Tony have traveled.
Yeah, no, they will. Those are the two.
And that's also if you look at
those are the guys.
Some the better of it. Maybe some of these other guys, Emilio and all them, maybe they won't do as well this Invitational, and they'll have a little fire in their ass to beat PJ.
We got Steve and Tony. That's what we got.
So we got. Hey, listen, this is actually the most compliments Steve's gotten in like 3 weeks. So, Steve, this is for you, buddy. We actually said you're probably one of the best players in Southern California right now. I mean, it's playing.
But it was a backhand. It's like
you want to make sure. Hey, don't forget that's backhand.
It was more like, well, that's what we got. What are you gonna do?
Oh,
what are you gonna do? He saw the tank coming, and he still stayed there.
Oh.
You see something coming, move. You don't. Oh, there's an energy explosion. You're gonna do that 100%. Okay, let me bunch my guys up together.
Yeah, you're right. This is the most backhanded compliment. Anyway, I can't say anything. I haven't won anything. I haven't won shit.
I'm just more upset that he let an outsider win. Even though it's George, but still, like
that's what's happened, man.
In and I'm like, God damn it, he couldn't.
It's true though. Every time they've come out here, PJ's won.
You know what? Before, when we would have the events at the store, it was always going to be either Aaron, Kevin, Justin, or Chris that would win. Like every time. I don't remember a time when we had states, regional, whatever, where it wasn't. When I'm talking here at this, well, I guess the one that PJ won. I think that was the only one. Because when we did the U.S. Cup, Kevin won it. And then last year, Aaron won it. And then now this year, it's George. But the regional where we had at the esports arena, PJ came and won that one.
Oh, really? I know that.
Chris was the best bet. He finished third. But
Who he beat?
that was also kind of like, Justin was already done, and Chris was already like on his way out. So, yeah. And then we've had the state, and then the state events was here. Chris won, and then I won last year, and then this year was Clay. So I mean, I guess it's still states. So I mean, it's still going to be somebody in, but I'm saying it's like someone within the group.
Yeah.
Not not these NorCal guys or whatever. It's actually SoCal guys that that are part of the group.
Yeah, that one dude, Justin did well. He had a chance to take down Clay too in that one.
Yeah. We kind of let him cheat though by calling in the 60-point piece with a 50-point piece.
Yeah, but I think there's ways around that.
I was in the.
He could have just called it in with Gene Gray and not do all the other stuff he was trying to do anyway.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, it happened.
Yeah, that's true.
There was no punishment for it, and Jay was watching it, so it was just like, oh god, it was even worse. But it was already too late. I was like, all right, whatever. But that's what happens when, I was in the room doing, prizing out the people that lost, getting some trade-ins, also watching it, and then, next thing I know is over. I mean, watching, and I'm like, oh great. How did he call in Iceman? Who did he call him with? Mysterio. Wait, is it Mysterio 50 points? Oh, shit. All right, well.
Yeah, but Clay let him do it too.
What's that?
But Clay let him do it too, just like I let Daniel shoot me from outside of 4.
Clay won, so it doesn't matter.
You
lost, so it matters. There's difference. There's the whole no harm, no foul thing in basketball.
Yep.
This one.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
It was harm, and you got fouled. So, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a downer. Like this. All right, let's talk about something good. I was just like, oh man. Aaron just asked if PJ and Paris are playing live right now. No, I don't think so. Are we even on there? I thought we set this private.
How about this? Let's talk about something I am kind of interested in. Have you seen any of the recent spoilers? I know you've looked at some. And what do you think of the cross retaliation on that Tri-Sentinel?
So Aaron he put the picture on our chat. Of the Tri-Sentinel. Seems all right. I mean,
Pulse Wave seems good.
Pulse Wave retail, really good. For ROC Age applications, you can have hopefully Mystique kill. Well, but that's weird. That's not going to happen though. Mystique doesn't attack. But
yeah, you probably couldn't get his Pulse Wave off without her already getting to him first. Unless you have another Pulse. Yeah. Unless you have something else to threaten her.
Yeah. 30 points.
That's... Maybe... He's got like 18 defense, doesn't he? Or 19 even? I know he has a lot in his dial. His dial's like 18. It's like all 18 or 19.
That whole... the 100-point part and all those reducers, and he can also like punish you for penetrating him. That seems good. I don't know if it's worth so at 30 points, I don't think it's worth playing over Groot Carnage. But the fact that it breaks blocking terrain on it when it moves, and it's a flying colossal that can carry other colossals now.
Yeah.
So that's huge. It has sidestep too. It breaks and when he breaks if barrier became a thing in the format, he'd be really, really good, right? Because after he moves, he breaks all the blocking terrain. and then next to it, and then if anybody was next to the terrain, they get hit.
He moves well. Also, his retail is after he pulse waves, all blocking within 3 squares gets blown up.
Oh, the pulse wave does that too.
Yeah, I don't remember the movement part because I remember trying to look at. I was trying to look at. I don't remember what I was looking at. I was trying to look at the video.
Is it Is it a 10 attack?
Yeah, 10 attack, 3 damage. I'm pretty sure.
We're so spoiled with these 11 attacks.
Yeah, but we also have the whole set that's coming out with stuff that's like +2 perplex, +2 perplex.
Yeah, but you don't need to. But why would you have to spend that when you just have it on somebody when you can use it on someone else? You know what I mean, like I would rather have the 11 pump his damage, or have an 11 pump his attack even more. Not make it a 10 and then having to waste it on that guy. Your retaliators, if you're wasting like resources on your retaliators, it's probably not. I don't think that's the right way to go.
You think it's a bad investment?
Because your guy's, it's gonna die anyway, and it's a bonus. But you should be using most of your resources on. When I say resources, not actual resources, like your resources meaning your prop, outwit, stuff like that, on actually things that are on your team. Because I don't want to waste my, unless obviously if your whole team is retaliators, I guess that could be something.
Well, I think it also manages the application if like somebody hit and ran and you don't have good angles to get your other attackers in, and at least you can get the retaliator going or something like that, and to get a piece of something to kill something.
Yeah, but you could do that. You can do that with Groot's 11 attack and Carnage's 11 attack.
That's true.
And you could do it without having to waste, and then they get a bonus by getting a Pog.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's better than the Sentinel. Now, if we're talking at 100 points, he might be a little stronger because he's got like reducers all the way down, and he's got a stop click. It's like invincible, and he goes to like imperv or invuln, something like that. But I don't know if it's let me look at the picture because it's on here. All right, so at the 100-point dial, because obviously you're not going to do 300. At 100, it's 8, 10, 18, 4.
Oh, I like this movement too. The 8 movement.
It's bad though. I don't like that 10 attack.
Yeah.
Plasticity sidestep, and then this is the one where he destroys one or more pieces of blocking terrain. You deal the character to one of those destroyed things.
Mm-hmm.
The pulse wave is kind of cool. I don't know. At 100 points, I don't see it. Unless I'm missing something. I don't like the 10 attack. 10 attack top dial. And you cannot wit him too, so he could just get hit onto the stop click. Or if you're playing George's team, you can one-shot this guy.
Oh gosh, yeah, you can.
Yeah. Because Green Arrow just hits him for 6 and he's dead. And it's very easy to hit him for 6 with his team because Commissioner Gordon already makes him at 6. Oh, and this guy's humongous. All right, so that means Commissioner Gordon can see him. So now his defense is -2. And Green Arrow says, all right, I'm going to go all damage enhancement. You don't even do it. You need a 6. You need a 4. A 4 to one-shot this guy with that guy. So I don't know. Starro obviously is a little bit better for 100 points. Because
I would for sure.
Move. If you're playing this guy at 100, he has to move.
Yeah, I was looking more at the Retaliator. I looked at the 100, and the dial seemed too short for something that's so easy to hit.
If you're gonna look at him at the Retaliation one, I still don't know if I would play him over Groot Carnage.
How does his
you know how hard it is to do his pulse wave against a swarm team that has retaliators? Because his range is 9. All those retaliators have the stop click toughness.
Stop click toughness.
He's not going to kill any of them.
What with his retaliation, does it read? How close does it have to be? It's just to make an attack.
It's just so that he can make a using pulse wave, so he can do it from like 6 squares out, 5 squares out.
Okay, so he doesn't have to.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But if you're playing against a team with a whole bunch of pieces, it's really hard to single target with this retaliation because there's a lot of pieces. And his range is 9. So that's a lot to shoot. That's a lot, man. A lot. And it's a 10. With a 10, you need an 8 to even hit mini. You need an 8 to hit clone. You need an 8 to hit Sam Cap. You see the difference between that 8 and a 7 when you attack with Carnage and Groot? Your percent changes drastically with that one number without putting any effort into it. So I would say no on this one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. The only thing for me would be because it breaks blocking and it has that cool breaking and it hits people.
Yeah, I guess if that was something that your team needed for some reason.
What's that?
I guess if that was something your team needed.
Yeah. But you also
then
said
he's worth bringing in for that.
But Skyscraper Wonder Woman does the same thing for half the cost.
Yep.
So.
And I think she does more.
Yeah, you play 2 of her, so I don't know. What else was there?
Let's see. We've looked at.
It's actually on our page.
Yeah. I was gonna say we've looked at. There's another Thanos. Actually, no. I'll bring that up in a second. I'm gonna wait. So we saw the regular Destroyer Thor. He doesn't seem bad. The only thing that I was looking at was because he doesn't have an actual move and attack power on his 125.
Well, I'm waiting for it to come up. Let's see here. Yeah, there's that new Thanos. I think that, man, I really hope that this is a pretty balanced sealed set because it gets kind of scary, man.
Well, yeah, some of this stuff does. I mean, these styles are big. I mean, it reminds me more of a DC set.
God, I know. So this is this is the Prime Thanos, and he's got sidestep pulse wave.
Yeah, so there's that one. I was going to destroy Thor, but yeah, so there's the Prime Thanos.
Unavoidable to another friendly character that's adjacent to an opposing character. There's some practical applications for this. Oh, but he's not 140, maybe not 140. Because that ability to damage your own guys, sometimes you want that for something.
Well, one of the reasons why too is his special damage power.
Yeah, where he gets where he makes, doesn't he make guys or something?
Yeah, so he's probably control, and if I'm pretty sure when Thanos uses his target attack that would have hit Thanos and it misses, he gets to generate one of those. And they don't cost any points.
0 points.
So he can kill them off, and then he can get those. There's some ability that he gets.
Yeah, if a character 25 points are KO'd by Thanos. Oh, never mind. He gets the bonus, like +2 for each combat value or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there might be something there, but at 140 points and 6 clicks long, I'm not in love with that.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Huh. I don't know. Also Star Trek got pushed back.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
So what time? Did they say? Or did they just say it got pushed back?
It got pushed back to, I want to say 2019 though. Isn't that crazy? Like, it was supposed to be like in November and it got pushed back.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. What about that Dino Thor? Did you see that? That opening click of hypersonic seems kind of good.
Yeah, how many points is it?
90 points.
Never mind.
Huh?
Never mind.
No?
90 points? What does it do? What else does it do?
Well, he's got a 12 hypersonic. He flies with Indom, 5 range, 11 attack, 4 damage. He doesn't have reducers.
He's a Thor with no reducers?
Yeah, Dino Thor.
That's not Thor.
Okay, so this is the interesting part. When Dino Thor takes damage from an opposing character's attack, after resolutions, Dino Thor can use Earthbound and Neutralize until that opponent's next turn. When they say can use, doesn't that mean that's what he has?
Mm-hmm.
So he just has Earthbound neutralized.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. You're gone. You're done. I'm done with you. Even my noob ass can tell that that's no good. I really want to think this Odin is good, but I have my reservations on that one too. It seems so cool because it counters a lot of stuff in the meta, but him having to be adjacent, I think, is where it screws it up a little bit. But he does have that whole kind of carry and like make the attack on the stop trying to escape me, Mjolnir. Free once per game, make a range attack with a range value of 8.
Oh, that's the Odin. If you read that book, he's trying to train Mjolnir to come back to him.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, so it was. It seems like he might be something, but I don't know. I don't like his last 3 clicks of just regen and no reducers or anything.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Now, there's something I wanted to bring up to you, and this is not as much for a competitive podcast, but I wanted to point it out really quick. Did you notice in the videos the sculpts looked a lot better? Like they looked a lot more dynamic. They had a lot of cool stuff going on.
The Dice Tower one?
Yeah, I think it was the Dice Tower one. The sculpts looked more like detailed, cleaner.
That's good.
They just had a lot of cool plastic clear plastic going on. That regen, you could like take the little thing off his hand or whatever. Like there's like a glowing orb, and you can take it off.
Oh,
he said, he said it doesn't seem like it was supposed to. It seems like it's supposed to be able to come off.
Oh, that's cool. I love the sculpts. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm going to be saying when I add everybody on that little group chat for the Invitational is that every piece needs to have their figure on it. I don't want them taking the Quinjet off. I don't want them taking the whatever off.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have it on, and all the cards need to be there. It can't be print and play. I'm gonna make that clear because this needs to be a professional level of thing. So there can't be any proxies. Like if you need like special terrain markers, we'll put special terrain markers. Don't just put like a die over there. You know what I mean? We want to make but the main one I said was like the figures have to be there. It can't be. It can't just be the.
So have you been seeing that? I notice every once in a while at the Open Series, I'll see somebody like with the Quinjet, they take the top off, but that's the only thing I've ever seen.
The invisible jet comes off.
Oh.
There are people that have the flyers, and like, if it's either it came off and they're just like, I don't want to glue it back on, so we're just gonna leave it to the side and play the base. Like, I hate that.
Gotcha.
Because if that was the case, then we don't need the figures. We'll just play little Oreo dials on the map without having any figures. But that's part of the it's part of the allure of the game. It's like looking at these cool sculpts on the map.
Yeah,
it's a miniatures game. So I will be telling them all that. So,
all right. So what would you think about this if you looked and you saw X player playing a team, and then you realized wow, that team might, what is that? Maybe you play test and you're like, wow, this is actually really good. And you feel like, and then you take that same team pretty much and you win with it. How would you look at that
Same
situation?
team. You're talking about the same
Yeah.
team?
Yeah. Not baby jet versus full jet with different
We
whatever.
play big jet, right? There's like a big difference. If you're taking the same thing, I think I touched on this actually I was on Aaron's podcast. You absolutely 100% have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
If you're taking almost piece by piece the same team.
Yeah. It's like 90% of it's the same team.
If you made, I made a change. I made one. I changed 2 ID cards.
Yeah.
You're playing the same figures, or I play this Ultron drone instead of that drone,
Yeah.
or I play this Retaliator instead of that Retaliator. It's essentially the same. And I was going. This was a big thing too. You have to give credit to that person who did it.
Yeah.
Because that's as close as you get into this game as plagiarism. You know what I mean?
So that's where that person can be like, "Hey, I was on that. I just hadn't quite,
That's
maybe.
why, like here's but you have the reason why you have to do that is because so that person doesn't have to go on there and say, hey, look at me, I'm the one that made this. I'm the one that made this. It makes that person look bad because it's kind of like, look at me, I need attention. But if you get out in front of it and you give that guy credit already, then he doesn't have to do that. Then it's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like imagine if I took your team and I won, and then you're like, motherfucker, I gave you the team, and you're gonna take all the credit for it. You're gonna go tell every single person that like, I made that team, and he's taking all the credit for it. That's gonna be a problem. But if I go around and tell Chase came up with this, I made a couple changes, but he came up with the core idea, and he told me we should play this, whatever. I always do that, and then on you or your end, you will feel like cool, like I got the credit I deserve.
Yeah,
it's all good. But now you're, if you do it the other way, it's gonna be bad. I'll give you an example. The biggest one. Aaron's old team, Team Deathblow, which it's like the thuggiest team ever. It was like Aaron, Frank, Patrick Jordan, and Ray Sola, and another guy. His name's Johnny. They were all they're all part of that SenCal team, right? The California guys. Well, that guy, I think his name's Johnny. He back in 2015 came up with a team with Scarlet Witch, the one that gave the hex tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before remember, she was on the watch list, right?
Yeah. Well, she was watch listed because all of a sudden she blew up, right?
Yeah. So check this out. They had that team. He had that team specifically, and they brought it. Like 3 of them played it, and I beat one, and I ended up losing to him in the top 4. And I'm like, this is the most broken interaction I've ever seen. I'm like, I remember Aaron and I were talking like, dude, this is ban worthy. Like, forget fucking watch lists. This is stupid. The fact that you can give those tokens after all the rolls have been, are you kidding me? That's like that you roll a 9, you got that 9, or I'll give you that 1 hex token. Like, and the way it's worded, it's after all the probability controls have been used. So it's not like you can, how Migsy now you can just you can remove it and then they can just roll that. No, not this. So you can just make it a miss no matter what. You're just done. So going into Worlds, Kevin and I were talking about like, dude, we should just play this. We played the exact same list. We made a couple changes to the list that they were playing. We opted for Orange Battery, I believe. I think we opted for Orange Battery. They were playing Green Battery. That's basically it. And then maybe a couple constructs here different, but we played the same. It was Atomica with Adara, Banshee
before
with
the Adara change.
Yeah, with the Defend, Scarlet Witch with Ion, or I don't know if we had Scarlet Witch Ion, but it was Banshee with Ophidian. But we went there, and leading up to it, even there, all we kept talking about, like me, Aaron, and Kevin, because we all played similar teams, was how that guy Johnny was. We kept saying, "Oh, this is Central California special." That's all we kept talking about.
Yeah.
So everybody now knew that Scarlet Witch was a Central California special, because that was the narrative we painted when we came there. And I have no problem saying when we were there, I was like, this ain't our team. We made a couple tweaks to it, but it was all them. It was all them. And then during the qualifiers, Aaron, Kevin, and I all went undefeated in the qualifiers. And we went, and then we played. We all did really well. I was undefeated against Faust. So, because no matter what happens, they still need to hit you, right? I'm like, I don't care. You can roll. I can undo move actions. Fine. I'll just move. Go. All right. Well, now you got to hit a 20. Go. All right. You roll. All right. Give you hex token. All right. You missed. They're gonna miss their Faust roll at one point. And at that point, Banshee one shots Faust, and the game's over. And that's what happened. It's just when I lost to a crit hit Phantom X disintegration beam. It was like the ultimate insult to injury. It was like the judge is watching. He was like, dude, that was the craziest game I've ever seen. It was he needed a crit hit to win, because no matter how much damage he did, Banshee will not die, because he can only do 3 damage. I think Phantom X was like at 2 damage, and that's right. He was at 2 damage. He maxed up to 5. He needed to roll a crit to do the extra damage to kill Banshee, to do 6. And that was and then he's like, whatever. He threw on the disintegration beam. Hits the crit hit. Banshee's dead, and my battery's gone. I'm like, wow, that was like probably the worst thing that can happen. And then so I ended up losing that game, but it wasn't to Faust, it was to Phantom X. But after that whole thing where we talked about the Scarlet Witch, and they actually, the designers and the judges watching, I just kept telling, hey, you guys need to put this on the list. Just watch. They were watching the games, and they're like, oh my god, they're done. So Scarlet Witch got onto the watch list, but nobody played it other than the West Coast guys. But the potential of it was really crazy, and let me clarify when I say only the West Coast guys. In high level events, we're not talking about your kitchen table, your local store, 800 points, and you're playing like 5 of her or whatever.
But Pat, I beat my best friend playing that.
Yeah, exactly. You almost got to put these little disclaimers, because somebody like, oh well, we were playing that. We're like, no, I don't remember seeing you playing this at a ROC event or a Wizkids Open event. Or
now, if we're wrong, go ahead and post in that you won said ROC event, and we'll look it up.
100% no. 100% no, because I did all the reports back then.
Oh, that's true.
That was the first I've ever seen it. That's why it caught my eye, because I played against it at the event, and three of them all top 8'd, and one of them won. It was first, third, and the other one was like top 8 or top 16, whatever. But anyway, well, I see you're yawning, so.
Dude, I am sorry.
No, that's good. No,
I don't have the energy as usual today.
I gotta get going anyway myself.
All right.
I gotta.
All right. This is about it for us at the Majestix Podcast. We did do this a little different so that we could post it on YouTube. Let us know if you'd be interested in us doing this live through YouTube. Post in the comments below. That's something we are playing with and toying with. Also, how's the Superhero Showdown coming?
I have it all on. It looks good. It looks pretty good.
Does it?
I'm just doing some editing, and then I'm gonna be able to I'm gonna be able to have the audio underneath in a separate file on the video. I'm gonna mute the video and put the audio separate, because I'm gonna be remember I told you I'm gonna be putting those images in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be doing that. I have them all. It looks pretty good, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we just got done. We just recorded a new Superhero Showdown. The first match was very sizzling. You guys check that out. But more importantly, it is going to be back. So that is something to check out on the YouTube channel.
It should be up If not tomorrow night, early Thursday.
Okay.
So it'll be perfect. It'll like just for the people can watch it over the weekend and whatnot.
Okay. And I promise next week I'll have a lot more energy. I'm sorry. I'm still reeling from 10 hours of playing softball yesterday.
Next week, did you win?
No. Don't want to talk about.
Next week, we're gonna have Travis Roberts, Aries Edge, on next week. He's basically gonna be doing like a breakdown on the worlds and just basically talking a bunch of shit.
I love it.
What we like.
All right. Yeah. Anything else coming up? You already mentioned that the events that we got going on.
Pre-release.
Pre-release, yeah. Wizkids Open, pre-release. Same thing, right?
It's different, right, guys? I know we said it's the same, but it's different.
No. Yeah, for any new player, there's a difference between pre-release and Wizkids Open. Message us if you want to know. We'll comment below. All right. You know what? I'm going to say that I'm done. I'm washing my hands of this one. I'm good.
All right, guys, and when in doubt, perplex the attack.
See ya.